Do you have to have a low, gravelly voice to be a male narrator in the romance genre of audiobooks? The short answer, no. Kind of. The long answer is probably. If you listen to a lot of audiobooks in the romance genre, you'll see that the majority of male narrators have at least a high baritone to a low double bass voice. This just seems to be the trend that most listeners of romance audiobooks want to hear from their mass-presenting characters in those books. This doesn't mean you can't find success in the romance genre if you have a mass-presenting voice in a higher range. It just means you might need to get more specific with what you're looking for. Maybe more of the younger characters, the golden retriever types, or perhaps some male-male romances. A lot of times in those books, they want one character with a higher register voice and one character with a lower register voice to make it easier to differentiate between the two characters and POVs of those chapters. But I will say this kind of cheeky comment that I don't feel too bad for you higher registered mass-presenting voices out there, because as someone who loved being in musical theater throughout my life, it seems like pretty much all the musicals in the past 20-30 years, all the lead male characters are tenors. Any baritone bass roles go to the villains, the dads, the tertiary comic characters, so I don't feel too bad for you tenors out there. But if you go listen to some of the most successful male romance narrators out there right now, they really do run the gamut from a higher baritone to a very low double bass. Even someone super popular like Jacob Morgan, who's out there right now, it's not that he has a super low voice, it's just that he adds a sensuality and an intensity to his voice that listeners seem to really enjoy. So it's not that Jacob Morgan's down here. It's that he's a little more intense, a little more aloof, a little breathy, and probably gets a little close to the mic. Everybody sounds a little more deep and sexy if they get a little closer to the mic. It's called that proximity effect. And then you go to the other end of the spectrum, the really low double bass narrators, and you have somebody like Aiden Snow. He has a rich, sonorous, low voice naturally. He's not forcing it. So he just naturally sounds like this all the time. Now with me, if I did a whole book with that character, I could, but it would be a little straining on my voice if I'm not careful. But what matters is that Jacob Morgan and Aiden Snow and everybody in between in their baritone to double basses, they're providing that passion, that sensuality, that intensity that gets listeners to be drawn into their narrations. But yes, typically a baritone to a big double bass are what you're going to find to be most successful in the romance genre for mass-presenting male narrators in this field. But that is not to say you cannot break into this field as a higher voice, tenor voice person. Just really rely on finding your niche, finding what characters really represent your voice, and focus your attention on those auditions. And focus on the acting, on the passion, on the sensuality of the character. So please in the comments, tell me if you think I'm way off base. Tell me what your favorite narrators are and where you think they fall in that kind of higher baritone to lower double bass category. And be sure to follow along for more videos like this. And until then, love is love and be kind to each other.